The world watches with bated breath as two Asian giants lock horns. The tension is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever before. China and India, home to over a third of humanity, stand divided by a volatile border. This border, stretching across the rugged and majestic Himalayas, has been a flashpoint for decades. This dispute, etched along the spine of the Himalayas, is more than a territorial squabble. It is a complex web of historical grievances, national pride, and strategic interests. It has the potential to ignite a wider conflict, reshaping the geopolitical landscape of Asia and the world. The international community watches closely, aware that any escalation could have far-reaching consequences. The stakes are incredibly high. Both nations possess nuclear arsenals, and the specter of a nuclear confrontation looms large over the region. Both China and India are nuclear-armed nations with rapidly growing economies and global aspirations. Their economic might and military capabilities make this standoff particularly perilous. Their rivalry, if left unchecked, could unravel decades of relative peace and prosperity in the region. The memories of past conflicts still linger, and the scars of previous skirmishes have not yet healed. Understanding the complexities of this dispute is crucial for anyone seeking to navigate the turbulent waters of 21st-century geopolitics. The border issue is not just a bilateral problem, it has implications for regional stability and global security. It is a story of historical grievances, strategic calculations, and the relentless pursuit of power in a rapidly changing world. The roots of this conflict run deep, tracing back to colonial times and the drawing of arbitrary borders. The path to a peaceful resolution remains elusive, but the consequences of failure are too dire to contemplate. Diplomatic efforts continue, but the road ahead is fraught with challenges. The hope for a lasting peace rests on the shoulders of wise leadership and mutual understanding. Despite the tensions, there are glimmers of hope. Both nations have engaged in cultural exchanges, joint economic projects, and collaborative scientific research. These efforts, though small, are steps towards building trust and fostering a spirit of cooperation. The international community also plays a crucial role in mediating and supporting peace efforts. International peacekeepers, humanitarian aid, and advocacy for dialogue are essential components in the quest for a peaceful resolution. Ultimately, the people living along the border are the ones who bear the brunt of this conflict. Their lives are disrupted, their futures uncertain. Yet, amidst the tension, life goes on. Children play, families gather, and the natural beauty of the Himalayas stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As the sun rises over the Himalayas, it brings with it a new day and the hope for a peaceful future. The journey towards peace is long and arduous, but it is a journey worth undertaking for the sake of future generations. The China-India border, stretching over 2,100 miles, is a tangled web of claims and counterclaims. This border, one of the longest in the world, is not just a line on a map, but a complex and often contentious frontier that has seen its fair share of tension and conflict over the decades. It is broadly divided into three sectors: the western, the middle, and the eastern. Each of these sectors has its own historical context, geographical challenges, and strategic significance, making the border dispute a multifaceted issue. Each sector presents its own unique set of challenges and complexities. The diverse terrains, from high-altitude deserts to dense forests, add layers of difficulty to the already intricate border negotiations. In the western sector, the dispute centers around the Aksai Chin Plateau. This region, characterized by its harsh high-altitude desert environment, is strategically significant for both nations. This desolate high-altitude region is currently controlled by China, but claimed by India as part of Ladakh. The strategic importance of Aksai Chin lies in its location, providing China with a crucial link between Tibet and Xinjiang. The middle sector is relatively less contentious, though there are minor disagreements over the exact alignment of the border. This sector, while not as volatile as the others, still requires careful management to prevent any escalation. The eastern sector, encompassing the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh, is perhaps the most volatile. This region, with its lush landscapes and significant population, is a flashpoint for tensions between the two nations. China claims the entire state, referring to it as South Tibet. This claim is rooted in historical assertions and strategic interests, making it a particularly sensitive issue. This claim is vehemently rejected by India, which considers Arunachal Pradesh an integral part of its territory. The cultural and historical ties of the region to India are strong, further complicating the dispute. The lack of a mutually agreed-upon boundary line in these sectors has led to numerous standoffs, skirmishes, and a full-blown war in 1962. The legacy of the 1962 war continues to influence the dynamics of the border dispute, with both nations maintaining a heavy military presence in the region. The ongoing dialogues and occasional confrontations underscore the complexity and sensitivity of the China-India border issue, making it one of the most challenging geopolitical puzzles in the world today. Aksai Chin, a desolate expanse of high-altitude desert, lies at the heart of the western sector dispute. Though seemingly barren, this region holds immense strategic value, particularly for China. For China, Aksai Chin serves as a crucial link between its restive Xinjiang province and Tibet. It provides a vital road connection, allowing for the rapid deployment of troops and supplies to maintain control over Tibet. This strategic corridor is a lifeline for China's presence in the Tibetan Plateau. India, on the other hand, claims Aksai Chin as part of Ladakh, citing historical ties and traditional grazing rights. However, India's control over this region has been tenuous, dating back to the early 20th century. The control of Aksai Chin gives China a significant strategic advantage in the western sector, allowing it to project power along the border and safeguard its interests in Tibet. Section 4. Arunachal Pradesh, the Eastern Gateway. In the eastern sector, the dispute revolves around Arunachal Pradesh, a state nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas. This region, rich in biodiversity and natural resources, is claimed by both India and China. China views Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet, asserting historical and cultural links to justify its claim. Control over Arunachal Pradesh would give China a strategic foothold in the Brahmaputra River Valley, which flows into India and Bangladesh. India, however, considers Arunachal Pradesh an integral part of its territory. The state has a predominantly tribal population with distinct cultural traditions that align with other northeastern Indian states. India has made significant investments in infrastructure and development in Arunachal Pradesh, further solidifying its claim. The dispute over Arunachal Pradesh is deeply intertwined with issues of identity, territorial integrity, and strategic considerations, making it a particularly sensitive flashpoint. Section 5. A century of shifting sands. The roots of the China-India border dispute can be traced back to the early 20th century, a time when both nations were grappling with the legacies of colonialism and striving for independence. During this period, the political landscape of Asia was undergoing significant changes. The British Empire, which had a stronghold in India, was beginning to face resistance from Indian nationalists. Similarly, China was dealing with internal strife and the weakening of the Qing dynasty, which eventually led to the establishment of the Republic of China in 1912. The seeds of the dispute were sown during the British Raj, as British cartographers drew imprecise boundaries in the Himalayas. These cartographers, often working with limited information and under political pressure, created maps that were more about asserting control than reflecting the true geography of the region. The British were primarily concerned with securing their northern frontier against potential threats, particularly from Russia, in what was known as the Great Game. These lines, often based on incomplete surveys and political expediency, failed to account for the complex geography and local realities of the region. The rugged terrain of the Himalayas, with its towering peaks and deep valleys, made accurate surveying a formidable challenge. Moreover, the local populations with their own distinct cultures and histories were often overlooked in these colonial-era decisions. One such line, the McMahon Line, drawn by British Administrator Henry McMahon in 1914, demarcated the border between British India and Tibet. This line was part of the Simla Convention, an agreement between British India and Tibet, which China did not recognize. The McMahon Line was intended to be a clear boundary, but its legitimacy has been a point of contention ever since. This line, largely following the Himalayan crest, placed most of Arunachal Pradesh within India. Arunachal Pradesh, a region of stunning natural beauty and strategic importance, became a focal point in the border dispute. The area is home to diverse ethnic groups and has significant cultural and historical ties to both India and Tibet. However, China rejects the McMahon Line, claiming it was imposed on a weak Tibetan government. China argues that Tibet did not have the authority to sign such an agreement, and therefore, the McMahon Line is invalid. This rejection has been a consistent stance of the Chinese government, contributing to the ongoing tension between the two nations. The lack of a clear and mutually accepted boundary agreement from this tumultuous period laid the groundwork for future disputes. Over the decades, both India and China have engaged in numerous diplomatic negotiations to resolve the border issue, but a lasting solution has remained elusive. The disputed areas, with their strategic and economic significance, continue to be a flashpoint in Sino-Indian relations, affecting not just the two countries but the broader region as well.